Hey guys, welcome to the channel and another video. Today I'm going to be watching The Crow by Proyas starring Brandon Lee. As you already know, I've watched Dark City by Proyas on the channel, which in my opinion was one of the best sci-fi films of the 90s. It came out a year before The Matrix and it was just incredible. The concepts it was tackling back then, it was way ahead of its time. Do check that out if you haven't yet. I've also known Brandon Lee as Bruce Lee's son, and I know about The Crow only because Brandon tragically passed away from an accidental gunshot wound on set. Although I've been aware of the film for the longest time, I've never watched it because when I was younger, I was a stupid kid, and the film looked very gothic, which I wasn't into back then. Knowing all the history now, I'm very much looking forward to watching this cult film. I know nothing about it except it being some sort of action film with dark undertones. That's about it. But before we get into it, to help support the channel, I have a Patreon page for full-length reactions to over 70 movies, early access and weekly polls for what to watch next. You'll need your own copy to watch along, of course. The link's in the description below, by the way. Please consider being a patron. Please subscribe to the channel. Do check out my other videos. Like if you liked this video, dislike it if you didn't. With all that being said, let's get started. The Crow, Proyas, Lee. Let's go. October 30th, Devil's Night. So it's a night before Halloween. Whoa. Unique visual style.
Something so bad happens that a terrible sadness is carried with it. And just sometimes, the Crow can bring that soul back to put the wrong things right.
Okay. Shelley Webster.
Yeah.
Oh, this couple was supposed to get married the following day.
143 fires.
They're slacking off from last year.
Oh, and this is The Crow.
Where's Eric?
Just don't worry about it. She's gonna be okay.
She's not my sister. You lied to her about Eric.
Look, I had to.
And you're lying to me about Shelley.
Smart girl.
Two people who are meant to be together. Nothing can keep them apart.
The Crow. Crow has the ability to bring people back from the dead if they've suffered a lot. That's what the opening exposition said. Eric rises from the grave. His body hasn't decomposed, or it decomposed and then it got back to normal. I know this is science fiction, but I couldn't imagine waking up from a grave a year later with no context whatsoever.
Bad people out in the street tonight.
Oh, it's the following year's Devil's Night. I wonder how they train the Crow, because that's definitely not CGI. And it's almost like the Crow is guiding him. Even a year later, nobody's removed the crime scene stickers.
Gabriel.
Their cat is still alive. And he's having flashbacks.
Code violations? Safety hazard?
He got thrown out the window. What a horrible way to die. Watching your wife getting raped and murdered before being thrown out of a window. Is he immortal now? His wounds just instantly healed.
Say that again.
I love you.
They were planning the wedding and everything. That's where the look comes from. Whoa. Proyas knows his cinematography, and this is an excellent shot with the lightning and just seeing flashes of his face. I like that.
Decisions.
Another beautiful shot. The color palette and grading mixed with the really beautiful cinematography and soundtrack is creating a very compelling atmosphere. It's almost like he has a psychic connection with the Crow.
Halloween ain't till mañana.
Oh, and another reason he's like this because it's Halloween night. Okay, that makes even more sense now. This dude's dead.
You killed them.
The music just cut out.
On Halloween? Yeah, right. You raped her. I shanked her pink ass and she loved it. Victims. Aren't we all?
Jeez. That was an awesome scene. 90s post-grunge.
Arcade game spelled down went boom.
Boom.
You're thinking about the past.
I know this actress too. I don't know where I've seen her, but she was definitely around in the 90s.
I love her eyes.
Is she dead? She's dead.
So, I guess you're not gonna be home till a lot later, huh, darling?
She's busy.
Okay, that makes sense. That's why Eric and Shelley were looking after her, because her own mother was incapable.
I'm looking for something in an engagement ring.
Decent special effects there.
He confided in me before he ran out of breath.
What the hell do you call that?
Beautiful. I don't believe it.
Now you're gonna tell me where to find the rest of Tintin's little party pal.
The pit. They all hang out at the pit.
Brandon Lee's performance is growing on me.
Is that gasoline I smell?
Explosion! Beautiful. I'd love to be on a set where this kind of stuff is happening and see it with my own eyes.
I said don't move.
You don't remember me.
What are you talking about?
How about Shelley? They're all dead. They just don't know it yet.
I love how casually he's saying this stuff. And he's gone.
There are energies aligning against you.
They're burning the eye. It's almost a tribal noir score. Very interesting. He gets flashbacks when he touches people. It happened with the cat as well.
What are you supposed to be, a clown or something? I wish the rain would stop just once.
Can't rain all the time.
But he's gone again. I feel so bad for this girl.
Shelley Webster and her nice rock and roll boyfriend.
Rock and roll boyfriend. Explains the makeup even more now. Sarah's mother. You can see through the bird's eye, I think.
Man, don't do that! Take your shot, fun boy.
This must scare the living crap out of him.
Don't you ever fucking die?
Oh.
Mother is the name for God on the lips and hearts of all children. Do you understand? Morphine is bad for you.
And it came out of her body.
Your daughter is out there on the streets waiting for you.
Okay, he's not dead yet. One thing Alex Proyas does so well is create an atmosphere so compelling. Jeez!
Freeze!
I need you to tell me what happened to us.
She was beaten and raped. Died at the hospital.
stayed with her the whole time.
Yeah.
You shouldn't smoke these.
Facts.
They'll kill you.
Trust me, I know.
I'm sorry as hell for what happened to you and your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brandon Lee's performance is winning me over. At first I thought he had no expressions, but I can see that it's intentional. He doesn't even know how to feel about being alive.
What else do you see?
My livelihood got flushed away in one swirl. She's supposed to be your sister?
My father's daughter.
That's his sister? Ugh. I'm not surprised. Again, what a beautiful set. 2 out of the 4 are dead already.
What do you want, man? Money?
What in the crap?
This film has a bit of dark humor to it. Just a little. Because if they used it too much, it would have changed the tone of the film.
Come here. I know you. I know you. I knew you.
Another great piece of stunt work and an excellent explosion. Proyas needs to keep making more movies. Hey, Sarah's mom is back.
Someone kind of woke me up, Mom.
Sarah's going to Eric and Shelley's house.
I miss you. And Shelley. I thought you cared.
Sarah, I do care.
Beautiful music. Made that scene very impactful.
I seen him. T-Bird, he's let me in.
See the grave? Empty.
They have all arrived.
Watch it.
When someone's dead, they can't come back, can they? You see him too?
I saw somebody.
Okay.
I tell you, when I used to think about the idea itself, it put a big old smile on my face.
The crow is here. Skank is so scared, he's gotta go.
I just want him.
Well, you can have him.
Gone.
He's killing everyone. The action sequences here are shot beautifully. I wonder how much of the film Brandon Lee completed before passing away. It looks like a complete film and I don't see any scenes missing or a part of the narrative missing yet.
That's all she wrote. Move and we shoot.
He exited almost like a clown exiting the stage. And he's gone again. He's kind of like Batman in that way, where he just disappears in front of the police.
He has power, but it is power you can take from him. The crow is his link between the land of the living and the realm of the dead.
So kill the crow and destroy the man.
Well, she's smart.
Coming home, Shelley.
If there was no context, I would say this was bad acting, but there is context, and he's literally going crazy.
I think she'd like you to have it. This way you'll always remember her.
This was an emotionally impactful scene. This little girl knows how to act too. Oh no!
Her eyes were so innocent.
The crow is shot. His immortality is gone. Proyas is finally showing weakness in Eric's character.
Bye-bye, Birdie.
And I think he has a flare gun.
I thought, you were invincible. I was. I'm not anymore.
I think I messed up.
This is all the power you ever had. Now it is mine.
It went for her eyes, just like she has an obsession with eyes. He's using the mask as a sword.
Every man's got a devil, and you can't rest till you find him. What happened back there with you and your girlfriend? I cleared that building. Hell, nothing in this town happens without my say-so.
It was him who's ultimately responsible.
I have something to give you. 30 hours of pain.
30 hours of pain.
All for you.
What an ending to the storyline, and that character in particular whose name I haven't gotten yet for some reason.
God, I need a cigarette.
What you kept in here saved me. Stay with him until help comes.
Eric?
And he's gone.
He does that a lot.
He does that a lot. That's the exact same thing Gordon says every time Batman disappears.
Let's keep going home. I'm okay.
Beautiful music. And the crow's okay. And he gives Sarah the ring.
Buildings burn, people die, but real love is forever.
What a way to bookend the film with Sarah's narration. That was such a good film. It's based on a comic book and a comic strip. So it's essentially a superhero film. I really enjoyed it, guys. Okay, I took some time to collect my thoughts. First off, Alex Proyas is an excellent director. And I think he just needs to choose the right projects, because out of the 7 films he made, I watched and loved 3 of them. The Crow, Dark City, and I, Robot. After Knowing and Gods of Egypt, I'm guessing he's having a hard time landing a director's gig. If anyone deserves a third chance, it's this guy. Anyways, back to The Crow. This film was not what I thought it was when I was younger at all. This is a superhero revenge story. I'm using the word superhero very lightly here because although he had superpowers, he only used them to get revenge for his fiance's death and his death before returning to the grave. I would consider him a superhero, a proper superhero, if he was shown to help regular people, or if he didn't die at the end. You could argue that he did help Sarah, and while that's true, she was pretty much family to him. I would consider the premise, the visuals, the editing, the music, and Brandon Lee's performances to be the strengths of the film, whereas the lack of character development might be considered a weakness. Let's get started with the directing by Alex Proyas and the writing by David Shaw and John Shirley. I didn't know the film was based on a comic book, but the adaptation was written by the writers very well as a standalone movie. The writers kept the story simple, but the premise very interesting. A crow helping the dead to get revenge. Creative stuff. Like I said, the plot was pretty straightforward, with Eric and Shelley getting killed by a gang before resurrected by a supernatural crow that helps him get vengeance. Along the way, he helps a girl they used to take care of around the neighborhood, Sarah, and he gets help from a detective, Albrecht. All three of the main characters were written and handled very well. The bad guys were a little forgettable, but what I did note is their deaths. Each of them dies in a poetic fashion. T-Bird was an arsonist, so he burns to death. Tintin was into knives, so he was stabbed to death. Funboy was a druggie, so he was forcefully overdosed to death. Even the secondary villains, at the end, I had to look their names up, by the way. Top Dollar and his half-sister slash lover's death was handled expertly. Proyas, like in Dark City, really set up a compelling atmosphere. It was almost like the city was a darker version of Gotham City. Dark superhero films were very rare and far between around that time, and the only one I can think of from the top of my head is probably Tim Burton's Batman films. And I feel like the ambience was somewhat inspired by those two films. The subplot involving Sarah and her mother was handled beautifully by him, as I felt a real emotional connection between them and Eric. Near the end, when Eric hands the ring over to Sarah, the engagement ring, that scene felt very well earned. I really enjoy Proyas' unique storytelling style. It's almost always a variation on noir. By now, I'm a big fan of his work. The cinematography of this film was excellent. Considering the budget, the sets and costume designs were top-notch too. Proyas used many shots from above, almost like the crow's point of view. Those shots were very creative. Plus, the white landscape shots of the gritty city really brought it to life. The costume designs were unique, and I wouldn't call them gothic anymore. They were very metal, as Eric was formerly a musician. The editing of the film was a huge win because knowing Brandon Lee passed away during production, the director and editor did a fantastic job in making the film very coherent. It really didn't feel like the lead actor was missing. The film really felt whole, and that's really impressive. I wonder whether they had to rewrite the script or to do some clever editing or get a body double or something. Whatever it was, it worked. The music in the film was good. It was appropriate and pretty varied, in my opinion. We got a dark noir score complemented with Eric's guitar work and club music, especially when the bad guys were shown. I don't really have anything to complain about here. Great stuff. Let's talk about the performances, starting with Brandon Lee as Eric Draven. His performance really grew on me as the film went on. At first, I wasn't too convinced because his expressions were very limited considering his wife was raped and murdered, but I realized that it had a narrative purpose to it. He's undead, and that's why the performance had to be a little off-putting. It's a shame that Lee passed away at such a young age because it was almost like he was starting to flex his acting muscles here. By the end, I really enjoyed his performance. Rochelle Davis as Sarah was great too. Her character was needed to gain sympathy for the deceased couple, and she provided exactly that. I was emotionally attached to the girl the entire time, and she wasn't shown to be a weak character at all either. Ernie Hudson played Albrecht. Crap, I have the hardest time pronouncing that name. The cop that helps Eric get his revenge. He gave a solid performance, honestly. The fact that he was shown to be alone in his apartment without his wife gave us a lot of indirect exposition on his character. We got to see a picture of his wife, but she wasn't there, and we don't know what happened exactly. And it really added depth to his sad but smiling performance. His character really tied the story together. I had one criticism of the film, that being the lack of character development for most, if not all, the characters. I wouldn't go as far as to say it ruined the film or anything. It was a revenge film and it should be treated as such. There was a lot of backstory shown through flashbacks to make up for the lack of character development though. Overall, this was a great film. Another cult classic, which I believe will grow beyond its cult status to become just a classic. Alex Proyas was excellent in his direction. Brandon Lee sadly gives us the performance of his life. The story and the visuals and the music were just great. I can't believe I skipped this when I was younger. Actually, I'm kind of glad because I appreciate it way more than I would have if I watched it when I was a teenager. I highly recommend this film for anybody of age. Thank you for this recommendation, guys, and thank you for watching. I have a Patreon page. Consider being a patron. The link's in the description below, by the way. Subscribe to the channel. Do check out my other videos. Like if you liked this video, dislike it if you didn't. I will see you in the next one. Bye.